I promised that I was going to take you through the trip when I had to redo the valve springs on the third gen Ram. Well, it's time to do that. Now, I'm going to forewarn you, the video's a little incomplete. This is really just a quick overview on how the process went, and it's going to be a relatively short video, but I wanted to point as far as the job that we're doing. But I just kind of want to point out, because I know you guys like to see these things, you like to see the insides of engines, and this, like I said, it's a quick overview. Don't use this as your end-all tool and how to do this job if you're looking to do this job. It's just a great way to kind of see it, because honestly, I hope if you're an at-home mechanic, you never have to do this yourself. That this doesn't happen to your vehicle, and you can figure out if you want to actually tackle it or maybe take it to someone to get it fixed. Because yeah, this is not for the faint of heart as far as when it comes to repairs. And the other issue is that because of the video, this has had to be done quickly, because I'm getting ready to hit the road and drive about 3,500 miles with this truck, and I need to get this done quickly. So dealing with all the video and everything does wear on you, it does add up, does take up quite a bit of time. But I promised you that I was going to show this to you, so I wanted to make sure to get it out there for you. And without further ado, well, let's get started on the engine. I already got the rockers and everything else off of it. Valve cover's already off, all the plastic parts are already off. What I plan to do now is I'm going to be doing, I have to bring the spring up to top dead center. If you see this one right here, that I think is what my issue is. That was the broken one originally. That's the one I used to replace it. Believe it or not, that's like a performance spring. It's a heavier duty spring. You can feel it in the spring than the rest of them. I think that's what's causing my miss issue, although it is allowing it to run. Now, I'm going to start with this cylinder number 2 right here. You can see it's not a top dead center. We want the screwdriver to be pretty much all the way up for it to be a top dead center. What I did is I took a Phillips screwdriver here and I just put some electrical tape around the edge of it so I'm not scoring the cylinder head, and we're going to crank it right over here, turn it around. I have at least one plug out of all of the cylinders. Can't really see it very well there, but we're going to crank it around, get that cylinder moved up to top dead center. And I'm going to figure it out just by feeling it with the screwdriver. And I got the cylinder up here at top dead center. This is the first one we're going to work on. We're going to do this for every single one of these, but I think if it's not top dead center, it's just got to be close. So the whole premise of this is if the valve falls into the cylinder and it's up high, the cylinder can catch it so it doesn't fall into the cylinder, in the actual cylinder. There's another safeguard that we're going to be doing to make sure that that doesn't happen as well, but that's the whole idea and premise of bringing everything to top dead center. The next step is I need to get my hose and get the air compressor ready and go. Where did I leave off? So what happened was, if you notice, you're probably like, hey, this is a little different here. You were working on cylinder 2 yesterday, or the last frame, and now you're working on cylinder 4. Well, I ran out of light, so I just kind of finished that up in the dark. I wasn't able to get the video, but we're going to continue on. So now that we have our top dead center, we need a leak down tester. You can rent one of these from an auto parts store, or you can get one cheap on Amazon. But you want it set so that it will hit about 15 to 20 psi. Start the compressor up, let it come to cycle, stop and everything, and then hook up your air. What you're trying to do is you're forcing, when you take the spring tension off, you're trying to force that valve up so it doesn't fall into the cylinder. Now, if it does fall in the cylinder, if you have it on top dead center, there should be enough that you can pull it back up. If it's down below, the valve is going to fall into the cylinder, and then you have a mess. So I'm going to go ahead and compress this. Now, when we get into the oil seals, you're going to be on cylinder 6 already, because I already did the oil seal on this on cylinder 4. I've already done the oil seal on this one because I've already placed this spring. I think this is the spring that's giving me the problems, and we're going to go ahead and crank this one down. Okay, we got this cranked down, and now it's time for probably what is going to be the easiest part of this job. We take a magnetic tool. Come on, don't make a liar out of me. And we're picking up the keepers. So there should be 2 pieces. They split into 2. And we'll talk a little bit too about how these go back on after we figure out the oil seal. But now I like to keep them on the magnetic tool just so I don't lose them. So we'll take the tension off the spring. Right now there's nothing holding. Those keepers are what holds the spring in place. Right now the only thing that's holding it is the tension and the cap on the back. So once this comes off, the spring should be okay. It's loose, it's out. You can just pull this sucker off. There is a cap on this that we need to keep because I don't have extras of that. But okay, cylinder 6, we got the spring out. Now we have the oil seal. Let's see if we can get the pliers in there. I might end up having to take this rack off. Let's try a different pair of pliers maybe first. Sorry, my hand's kind of in the way, but I need to do that. So just pull that up and out. Now the oil seals, you typically want to replace them if you're replacing the valve springs, because these are probably not long before they start going and then you're leaking oil. And what I'm going to do, all you do is you take the new oil seal and just slip it right back on, push it back on. Now the air is what's right now, the only thing holding that valve up is pretty much the air that's blowing through it. The oil seal was holding it up before, so I want to get that oil seal on right away so that we can, you got to be very kind of ginger and careful as you're putting it on. So now we have something a little more holding it up. Besides that, I did soak the seal in oil. I'm also soaking the springs in oil. But that's just it. Oil seal's on. And now we can go ahead and put the spring on, put our cap on. Now these springs, I was reading online, somebody said soak them in oil for like a day or whatever. I could see the value in probably putting oil on them. I don't understand the value of doing it for so long. Maybe somebody can put that down in the comments if you understand. I don't, but I did see a value in putting oil, soaking them in oil at least, before putting new springs on. So I decided to go ahead and soak it in oil. Let me go ahead and get that tightened back down, and then I'll show you the next step. I didn't see a problem with it. You hear that noise? That's the air coming through. What's happening is I don't have the valve on proper, the spring tool on properly on the valve. So I just pushed down the valve. So I'm gonna need to take that off, everything off, and then pull the valve back up and start again. But like I was saying, I didn't see a value necessarily in keeping it in for days, but I didn't see anything that was going to hurt it. So I just said, you know what, we'll just go on ahead and do it that way, because why not? You know, it's not going to hurt nothing. And now I got my spring stuck. So with these shrouds on it, I noticed you got to get them in a particular position so that you can clear the push rod. What is it? The cam pushes. So my neighbor's mowing the lawn. Alright, we'll put this back up. The keepers are two pieces, but they're kind of shaped on an angle. You want the angle, you want the fat part on top, the skinnier part on the bottom. I'll show you, but basically they go right around the tool here. And you got to fit them in around the those openings, and they go around the what's the thing called? I'm already forgetting things. The valve stem over there, and then you take the tension off, and that will hold the spring in place. I need two hands to do this. I took the tension off of it. Everything's back in line. That's pretty much how everything should look. I still got to do the fourth one back there. I'll come back with the next major step, because there's probably not enough. This will probably get me banned off of Facebook with the amount of cursing I'm going to end up doing, getting that one all the way back there. But the keeper is probably the most difficult part. If you are missing it or you're having problems, one of the easiest things to do is just get your magnetic tool out, pull the keeper back out, start all over again, and just keep doing that until you get it. So, and if you lose it in the head, get your magnetic tool out, start feeling around for it. It should eventually pick it up. All right, we'll get that last one done. I'll bring you through to the next step, because after that we've got to get everything put back together, and then we got to do with the exhaust side done, we got to do the intake side. It's the moment of truth. Does something really bad happen? Well, it's idling. Now, I should give it about 20 minutes and let those springs break in. So there were a few things that I kind of missed, as far as you can probably obviously tell from watching the video. Like I said, this is all just about trying to get that video going and moving, because I'm under a time crunch. I got to get this thing on the road, and I still actually have a U-joint on the front of it to do. I already did the back. That was the whole drive shaft replacement, and hoping I don't have to do a drive shaft replacement for this U-joint. So yeah, and I'm getting under the wire here. I only got like 2 days left before we have to hit the road on this monster road trip, and this 20-year-old truck's going to do it all, hopefully. Who knows? But we'll see what happens. And you know, this is just, like I said, an overview, and there were some things that were missed, but everything seems to be running good. I ran it for the 20 minutes. Everything seems to be running pretty good, and hopefully it's going to hold up for a good 3,500 miles, because that's what we're traveling. So anyways, I'll see you next time.